Hey, what's up, guys? It's Russo and Jordy, Backdoor Fantasy Sports, and sorry we're getting this out to you so late. We've both had crazy schedules with Christmas right around the corner.
Yes.
But we've got 4 picks for you for the Saturday games. We have 2 games. We have the Chiefs versus the Texans and the Steelers versus the Ravens. The Chiefs-Texans game is the earlier game. That's at 1 o'clock Eastern. So yeah, we wanted to make sure we still got these out tonight for you guys. So whether you're watching this late night or you are catching this in the morning, we wanted the video to be ready for you if you were looking for some information on the picks that we're getting into.
Yeah, it's Christmas time, guys. We're a little busy. The kid who said I had ramen noodle hair, I hope you get cold for Christmas. Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I thought it was funny. I don't really care. I used to make fun of Odell for having ramen hair, so I deserve a comment or two here and there.
Coming back at you.
Coming back, yeah.
But so yeah, we have 4 picks. We didn't really get into demon plays. There's a couple on the board that we'll mention, but yeah, I mean, for this 2-game slate with some playoff implications that have us with some question marks, in particular the first game with the Chiefs and the Texans. There's a lot of unknowns because both of those teams have clinched playoffs. So we want to tread somewhat lightly, but the second game is really important to both teams. So we're a lot more confident in those plays. But we wanted to give you a little bit from each game, So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop us a like, and leave us a comment. If you guys have questions about plays, just hit us in the comments. We'll do a little research and try to get back to you. And if you have plays that you're excited about, share it with the community. Throw it in the comment section. But so yeah, quick shout out to our partners, Underdog, Betr, and Parlay Play. If you use code BACKDOOR at any of those platforms, they're going to hook you up with everything. Parlay Play is going to give you a 100% deposit match up to $100 and a $5 promo slip to let you get to know the platform. So you get a free slip. It's not just a free pick. It's pretty cool. And on top of that, for the Parlay Play promo, we're giving you a month in our Discord too. So all you have to do is email us at bdfantasysports@gmail.com, and we'll confirm that the code was used with your username, and we will get you in the Discord right away. With Betr, you're going to get a $200 deposit match and a free pick to help you cash that first slip. And then Underdog is going to give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick to help you cash your first slip. And I just want to say Underdog has been killing it with their platform lately. If you haven't played on Underdog yet, the improvements they've made over the last month or two have been awesome, quickly becoming one of my favorite platforms to play on. I like playing on all of these different platforms, but Underdog, they're really staying competitive with how fun they make their platform. So yeah, if you guys want to check out any of those platforms, you want to diversify, all the information is down below. So just make sure you use our code.
Shout out Roddy Rich down below. Down below.
I'm sure someone out there knows that reference.
Oh yeah, Roddy Rich.
I do. But anyways, so yeah, let's talk about the picks we're getting into. We had I feel bad I forgot his username, but longtime watcher of the show mentioned that he liked it last year when we were posting the picks on a separate screen when we started the, just so you guys can clearly see what plays we're talking about. And yeah, I was like, oh yeah, the reason we had stopped doing it is because as we were expanding platforms, we didn't want to put every single pick of every platform. So we're like, okay, we'll bring it back. We'll just simplify it, show you on Prizepicks what the lines are, and then tell you the difference on the others. So anyways, thanks for the feedback. We've got it back. We'll keep it here to stay. So the plays I'm getting into, I'm going to be going with Noah Gray over 2.5 receptions. And I'm going Calvin Austin over 8.5 fantasy score. And yeah, I'll break those down and kind of explain to you why I'm going with Noah Gray here in a minute. But what are you getting into, Jordy?
Yeah, I'm going to be taking Najee Harris for over 10 fantasy score. Taking this on all platforms. It's just a little bit different. Like on Underdog, I think it's like 9.2 or something like that because of the half PPR. And then we're taking Mark Andrews for over 8.5 fantasy score. Same thing. It's like 7.75 on Underdog or some other platforms that are half PPR. But feel good about it. So fantasy score across the board for both these guys.
All right. Well, I'll show you guys what we were talking about before we started filming. The Chiefs have clinched playoffs. They're 13-1. And then the Texans have clinched the AFC South. So yeah, Chiefs, AFC West, Texans AFC South, and neither of these teams are a threat to, like, I think that they've actually won their divisions, if I'm not mistaken. The second place in the AFC South is the Colts, and they're 6-8. They currently have a 6% chance of making playoffs, and if they win, they jump up to a 10%. So they need everything that it's not in their control. They need to win out, and they also need other teams to lose. So it's not looking good for the Colts. So what we were a little bit concerned about is, like, do we see either of these teams like sit their starters in the second half, or do we see like Patrick Mahomes is already dealing with a little bit of a minor injury when you saw Carson Wentz come in that last game. So I tried to keep that in mind for this game. So I'm way more excited for the Steelers and the Ravens, because the Steelers, they're first in the AFC North. But that's the same division, obviously, as the Ravens, who haven't even clinched playoffs yet, but they're going to make playoffs. So the Ravens are in second at 9-5, and the Steelers are in first at 10-4. So if the Ravens win this tomorrow, that'll put them both at 10-5, and then the Ravens will have the tiebreaker. So that will put the Ravens in first place, if I'm not mistaken, in the AFC North. So really important game. The Chiefs-Texans game, I'm a little bit like, I wonder what's going to go on there, because we know that the Chiefs play their starters in preseason. So, but you have Patrick Mahomes a little bit banged up. Like, maybe we see some Carson Wentz. You never know. Either way, if they do decide to rest some of their starters and not have them play their typical amount of snaps, in this case with Noah Gray, that would actually help him, because he's already been getting a little bit of love over the past 6 weeks. He's been getting like more red zone looks and just more receptions in general. You can see if we kind of look at these last 5 games, he's gone for 4 receptions in every game except for last week against Cleveland, just 2 receptions. But I think that I like him to get at least 3 in this game. And if for some reason we do see Travis Kelce not playing his full snaps because they already clinched their playoffs, they already won their division, then I could see Noah Gray getting even more love. So I think he's good for 3 receptions. The matchup's tough. The Texans are tough, but still, I mean, it's 5th in receptions allowed to tight ends. So if you don't like it, just fade it. But I'm going to be taking it. Outlier has this as an EV plus play, so there's expected value there. And then if we hop over to Daily Grind. Daily Grind likes this as his best play on the board. It's not super juiced or anything, but it is favored to go over as his best play. 50.87% odds to hit the over, -122. And we've got some that are heavily juiced. BetMGM is all the way up at -135. So, but then, it's favored to go under on FanDuel. So that's what their odds makers are saying. So I'm feeling good about it. I think he can get us at least 3 receptions. His fantasy score looked pretty decent too, but I think I'm just going to roll with the receptions. But all right, so Calvin Austin, we've had 2 games without George Pickens, and we've got him ruled out again. So he's not going to be playing in this game. And Calvin Austin, I mean, he's really talented. He's like a speedster, surprisingly athletic, plays much bigger than his size. He's just like a little speedster out there. But yeah, the first game without Calvin, he didn't really do much. That game against Cleveland ended up going 27-14, won it pretty handedly, but he only had 1.4. But I think that he's gonna be needed in this game, and it's a really important game. Playing the Ravens, they're a strong defense up front, but they're a total pass funnel. So the receivers can typically eat against the Ravens on defense. Let me just pull up real quick these over-unders. So yeah, this over-under for this Chiefs-Texans game is a 42.5 point over-under. Chiefs favored by 3.5, playing in Kansas City. And then this game, Ravens versus Steelers, 44.5 point over-under. Baltimore favored by 7, and playing in Baltimore. And I mean, if there's ever a week for Baltimore to really show up, this is the week. A lot like there's a lot on the line here. So, but that being said, I like Calvin Austin with George Pickens out. So if we look a little bit closer, so yeah, Prizepicks, it's full point PPR. On Underdog, what was I getting it at? It's a little bit lower on Underdog. Yeah, just 7.35. It's half point PPR on Underdog, so it's a little bit different. But you can see this Noah Gray, 2.5 receptions is actually not even quite a full multiplier, because they're expecting it to have a better chance of hitting than not hitting, obviously. So still a 0.93 x, but still that usually is a good sign if the play you're taking is they're not giving you a full multiplier. But so yeah, Calvin Austin, this let's see, I'm on receptions here. Yeah, this first game without Pickens, he only had 1 reception, and I think that they probably just ran quite a bit with that lead that they had. But then when they played against Philly, he got 5 targets and he caught all 5 of them. And when this guy catches the ball, he's fast, so it's usually pretty deep downfield. If we take a look here, his average yards per reception, make sure I got that right. Yeah, average yards per reception is 11.3 over this 5-game stretch. Last week against Philly, it was a 13 yards per reception. But if you zoom out a little bit and you look at what he's typically doing, it's even more than that. Yeah, see, typically it's way up at 14.2. So I like him to get a little bit of love. You can see over here on the matchup, like we were saying, pass funnel defense, Baltimore is 31st in receiving yards allowed and 29th specifically to wide receivers. And then if we take a look at the receptions, because we're hoping for a decent amount of receptions for PPR sake, they're 27th in receptions allowed. So I think that he should get his fair amount of targets. Everyone is favoring the receptions to go under 3.5 though. I don't really understand that. Him going over the 3.5 is outlier saying a plus 144. So maybe you guys have a little insight as to why you think that they don't like his receptions. But let's take a look at Daily Grind. They like his receiving yards to go over 38.5, but none of these plays are super juiced. 50.08%, so just slightly to the over on his receiving yards. And yeah, they've got his fantasy score right on the 50-50 mark. That's 50.08% odds to hit the over. So go with your gut. If you don't like the either of these plays, just fade them. But I'm just showing you what I would be taking in these games. Yeah, that pretty much covers my plays. Once Jordy's done, we'll mention a couple demon plays that we kind of like. But if you guys want to check out Outlier, though, you can try this app out for free. There's a link below. Just sign up through that link. You don't have to put a code in or anything, but it will help you. It'll help you get a lot more information and help you make decisions about plays you might want to take or not take. But yeah, they cover all these different categories, and then they've got the matchup overall and specifically to the position of the player you're looking at. They have injury reports and insights about the players. So they have all these insights that they show you, and they tell you why they like this or that to go over or under. And they have a button that you can click to go directly to that platform where they're finding that play. So it's really cool. Give it a shot. You get it free for a week, so might as well. All right, Jordy, I'll pass it over to you, bro.
All right. Yeah. So to get me started into mine here, I like this Mark Andrews over 8.5 fantasy score a lot. He didn't really have a fantastic outing last time they matched up against Pittsburgh, but this was right into the time, 4 games ago, where, he's over this last 8-game stretch or so, you can see he's really put it together. Pittsburgh's a tough matchup, but not to tight end. So I really think it was just kind of a weird performance from him and Lamar. Lamar really struggled to get the ball moving. All of their points came from Chris Boswell, which I'm about to talk about in a second. But yeah, 26 in receptions allowed to tight ends. If you look at the receiving yards here, 17th in receiving yards allowed. And if we look at the touchdowns, they are 13th allowed in touchdowns. So I can see Mark Andrews getting in for a touchdown against Pittsburgh. He's been a touchdown machine over the last 10 games, 7 out of 10 games. He had 2 touchdowns against Tampa Bay. Mark Andrews, that's what he is for this team. He's the big catch guy when you need an easy catch up the middle of the field or a touchdown. Mark Andrews is usually a solid, reliable piece. So I really do like the fantasy score over 8.5 here. His reception demon, I'll just talk about this real quick since I'm on him anyway, is set at 3.5. I have it in a slip that I really like, and I flexed that one, but 3.5 receptions for Mark Andrews in a matchup where 26 receptions allowed in against tight ends. Like, I mean, over the last 10 games, he's gone for 4, 3, 5, 6, 2, 2, 5, 6, and 2. So it's like he's either crushing it or just going for 2. So I think in this game they're really going to need him. And there's no crazy weather in these games. It's going to be like 35 degrees and sunny in both games. So cold, but sunny football cold is just like even better, honestly, because you just can't feel it that much. But yeah, it's a great matchup for Mark Andrews. So I'm stoked on the fantasy score. I think the fantasy score is probably the best option, and then the reception demon at 3.5 I think is like the second best option, honestly. So like this a lot. If you like his touchdown too, sure. If you want to roll the dice on his touchdown demon, like I said, he's gone for 7 out of his last 10. He's had a touchdown, so he looks great in this matchup. So yeah, moving on. If we want to look at this on the optimizer, let me see. I thought I had him pulled up on this one. Okay, so his fantasy score is favored to go over. It's a 50.58% chance, a minus 102. So, and it's 8.5 across the board. So that's probably why it's favored over, because there's no discrepancy in the lines. So for a fantasy score, I feel great about it, honestly, at 8.5. So digging that for Andrews. And then moving on to Najee Harris here. I feel good about his fantasy score over 10. Last time they matched up, he went for 13.3. He had a good game. It was just a sluggish run game between both teams. So I think it's a fair shot for him to go over 10 fantasy score. He's done it 9 out of 14 games this season. We were really watching him start to put it together. He had a really bad outing against Philly in that last game, 3 fantasy scores. So did Jaylen Warren. There was really nothing going for Pittsburgh. I mean, we all seen Mike Tomlin lose his mind, and it was a bad game for them. So I think they're going to kind of try to prove a point in this game, I would think, and I think they're going to try to get this dub over the Ravens, because it's a really important win. So it's going to be a fun dogfight of a game. Like I said, great weather in this game too, so we're in for some good football. Hopefully the Chiefs game isn't too crazy and no sitting and all that, but I think if Najee scores, this is obviously cashed. So if he gets in the end zone, it's cash, but he can do it without it, because in the last head-to-head, he went for 13.3, and did he score in that game? He did not. So like I said, he can easily go for a 10 fantasy score without getting a touchdown. That's not high at all for a starting running back who gets, sometimes 20 rushing attempts or whatever he gets sometimes. So I like this a lot. I liked his receiving yards too, over 10.5. He went for 30 in the last game. Like I said, it's going to be kind of a weird game, so I just ended up going with the fantasy score because I like that more. He does catch some balls, but not as many as Jaylen Warren, so it's just a little sketchy there. But the fantasy score looks great at 10. We get all of that in one, so just give me the fantasy score at 10. I think it's the best line for him. This is also favored to go over just ever so slightly. I'll pull this up again really quickly here. Let's see, Najee Harris fantasy score right here. Oh, it's actually favored to the under now, 51.01% chance. It was just favored at a 50-50 shot. So I don't know, I like it at 10. If you guys don't like it, you don't have to take it, but I just kind of want like the big pieces in this game, because I think it's going to be a tough game. So I like both the running backs in this matchup. Just as some honorable mentions here, like I said, the Andrews Demon is like really the one that's popping off the board to me. So I'll let John or Russo talk about his here, but yeah, the Andrews reception demon is the one that's really popping off the board to me. And then the only other like honorable mention like for like skill players is Hollywood Brown at 17.5 receiving yards. I know it's his first game back, but I think he'll get that done, honestly. So like that one. But this Boswell fantasy score at 7.5. hit this 12 out of 14 games this year. Last matchup, he had 24 fantasy score in this game. So I think this is a smash play. I'm going to be playing it for sure. This could be another defensive game. So if he can just get, I think he'll get 8, no problem. So the way fantasy score works is they get like, what is it? A point per 10 yards, right? So if he kicks, so if he kicks like a 40-yard field goal, he'll get 4 points. This dude kicks 40-yard field goals in his sleep. So if he hits 2 40-yard field goals, that's cash, and an extra point is 1 point. So he can hit this in so many different ways, and I love this play. Also, Fairbairn, same thing, 10 out of 10 in his last 10 games here. 8 fantasy score. He's gone for 16, 12. You can see it right here. 12 out of 14 games also. So both the kicker fantasy scores in the Houston game. You know, Fairbairn and Boswell look great. So that's just something I wanted to show you guys. I threw this in the Discord too. I think this is really slept on value, and I think these will get bumped. So that'll be it for me. If you guys want to check out DG, it's a really cool app. You guys see us use it all the time. The optimizer is amazing. They've got some crazy juice on here. Kevin Durant is the top play. Points, rebounds over 35.5 and minus 146. So that's just the type of plays you guys can see. I'll scroll still a little bit so you guys can see some of these, but you just pause and look at them. But this is the cool thing about the optimizer, is it shows you all the top plays right at the top of the board and helps you get plays on your radar, and it helps you cash more. That's the cool thing about it. So if you want to check it out, dgfantasy.com, code BACKDOOR will get you 25% off your first purchase for as long as you want to lock that in for. Chalkboard is another daily fantasy app like Prizepicks and Underdog, but they have so many alt lines over there. It's a really fun place to play. If you like Taco Tuesday and stuff like that, and pairing plays with discounts, you can do that almost every single day over there because they run like 6 specials a day minimum. So another fun place to play if you're diversifying what you're playing on, which you should be. Use code BACKDOOR over at Chalkboard, and they'll give you a 100% match up to $100 in a free play. So yeah, that's going to cover it all for me. I'll pass it over to Russo now.
Cool. You know, speaking of that Boswell play, on this, like, just this 2-game slate, like, I'm not going to go crazy with the demon plays on this. I'm going to just wait for Sunday and then just try to eat on Sunday. But I mean, honestly, Boswell's 2.5 field goal demon looks like something I would roll the dice on. He went for 6 last time that he played Baltimore when he had that huge game. So, you know, like, you covered the fantasy score. I think all of that looks great as well. If you are looking for demons, this Boswell one might be something to consider too, because he might need to get 3. George Pickens is out, so it might be similar to what happened last game. And when Jordy's talking about the fantasy score, it just goes to show you, like, all of these guys, all these kickers tomorrow, their 1.5 field goals made are goblins. So, I mean, if they get 2 field goals, there's a good chance they're really close to hitting that fantasy score. Like you said, you know, it's like a minimum of 3 fantasy points for a field goal, and then every 10 yards it's an extra point. But I don't think that they go up to 6. I think it's like 40 plus yards is 4, 50 plus yards is 5. Most default fantasy platforms don't go up to, like, you know, 6 for a 60-yarder. Not that he's going to be kicking a 60-yarder tomorrow. They should by default, but they don't. So you have to go into the settings and adjust it for that. But yeah, you can see that they're already expecting these kickers to probably be able to get 2. I think is a good shot at it. So yeah, I love those plays. The only other one is, like, man, if I was really looking for a demon play, I think it's kind of crazy that they're, you know, it's like Calvin Austin he's typically like one of the better receivers they have with George Pickens. Like, George Pickens is getting all this attention, and Calvin is like, I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of crazy to me that his 3.5 receptions is a demon. Like, that might be something that I just, like, took a roll of the dice on. Like, demons are hard to hit anyways, but he just went for 5. He went 5 for 5 against Philly last week. So
I think if you click on Darnell Washington, I think his demon looks a little interesting at 1.5 as well.
1.5. Yeah. I mean, like, he's a big dude, like, but it's crazy to me because they've got Van Jefferson, who doesn't get as many snaps as Calvin Austin. They have his 1.5 receptions as a goblin. What's his demon set at? 2.5. I mean, someone is going to have to catch the ball, you know, but even last week with, you know, against Philly, he only got 1 reception. That's why I'm like, do they think that Pat Freiermuth is just going to eat, and they're not going to be, let's see. So they have his regular at 3.5. They've got his demon at 4.5. He had 3 receptions against Philly. So both games without Pickens, Freiermuth has had 3 receptions.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Wilson did only have like 126 passing yards in that game, so maybe they're just thinking he'll have a little bit better of a performance against a pass funnel, but that helps Calvin Austin. So I think the 3.5 is good.
3.5, because Philly is much tougher to pass on than the Ravens, you know, so like 3.5, if I was looking to make a demon slip, I'd probably throw this in there.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm just a little hesitant because it seems like the narrative across the odds makers is like, no, this is this is not looking good. So go with your gut. We're just showing you what we think, and then we're letting you know what the data is predicting. So we appreciate you guys tuning in to the show. If you want to join our Discord, let me pull that up real quick. You can use that Parlay Play promo, and as long as you use our code and email us, we'll get you in the Discord right away. Just they update us every morning with the users that used our code, so you can come join us. We have a killer community, and yeah, we all work together. And when a play looks good to anyone in the community, we all just share it in here, and we work together. And you know, it's like the radar is much bigger when everybody has got their eyes out there looking for value. So we do work together great as a community. If you want to take advantage of the Parlay Play, awesome. If you're already on Parlay Play or you're not interested in that, you can actually just sign up straight through Patreon, less than 50 cents a day. So go to Patreon, sign up there. It manages the subscriptions for us. Once you've signed up, go to settings in Patreon, and there's a connected apps option in the menu bar, and it'll log you into Discord right from there once you're signed up. So if you want to follow us on our socials, we're just at BackdoorFS on X, TikTok, and Instagram. We also have our personal socials down below if you want to follow us. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Good luck, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Good luck, guys.